Good morning, campers. Today we're going to be talking about the grafted cactus. So right here, this is a grafted cactus, and as the name suggests, it is two cactuses that have been grafted together. So we've got our first part here, which is this green part. Let me just put it down so I can point to it. The green part here is actually a dragon fruit, and this top part here, I cannot remember the name. But as you can see, it is a beautiful red color. Now, if you look at the base, you can kind of see where the top of the dragon fruit was cut off, and the bottom has some roots, and it's probably growing into the dragon fruit right now. So this is what you would call either a symbiotic or parasitic relationship, basically depending on what you think is going on here. It could be, symbiotic because the nice, lovely bulb at the top actually helps it get bought and put to a nice place, or it could be parasitic because, well, I'll show you why it could be parasitic in a little bit. So let's talk about some care directions for these guys here. So when it comes to a grafted cactus, the kind of light you're going to want to have it in is some bright light. These guys can survive outside, but when it comes to taking them home, you want to make sure that you adjust them accordingly. If it's in a filtered light greenhouse, you want to make sure that you have it inside for a bit, then take it outside, or just have it in filtered light. Now, features, once again, this is a very, very unique plant. You don't see these things very often in the wild. Actually, you probably won't because they have to be grafted by hand. And you can find these at Home Depot or at your local cactus place. So, they do come in a variety of colors. Let's bring another one out here. This right here is, I would say it's a fuchsia color of this cactus. And I want you to look at it. I want you to see just how wonderfully bright this pink is. And it is just a beautiful specimen. In case you're wondering, they do actually flower, and the flowers come out of the top, the colored part of the cactus. Some people actually just call these color cactus, and that's pretty cool. So they kind of like lollipops or something like that. These tiny little spines on here, they can get in your skin, so be careful, but they're not very pointy. Now, I say this is partially a parasitic relationship because when one of these two parts grows too much, the other part suffers. So you see this beautiful pink. We go to this part here. The pink is not as bright, and the top is much smaller in comparison. Let's get a comparison shot here. As you can see, that one right there is just not as nice looking as this one here. And the reason for that, as some of you may have already figured out, is this arm. You see, whichever one grows more is going to take from the other one. And that's a very important thing to think about. So if you want to keep your cactus looking very similar to what we have over here, you're going to want to prune that arm off. So whether you have a pair of shears or something like that, just kind of snip it, and then hopefully the balance will return once again to your cactus. Now, when you are buying them, you want to look, obviously, is there any growths coming out of it? Now, I've noticed something too before, this gets in your head. The flowers really don't take away from the stalk very much of the dragon fruit. And in a little bit, I'm going to show you what a fully grown dragon fruit looks like. We had one actually in one of our houses right now. So, obviously, this is your normal red one. You don't want to buy something that looks like this. And this is a scenario, once again, you can see the top is flourishing wonderfully, but the bottom just has this papery looking, thing here. Now, you can cut it off down here and then repot these after the bottom dries out. That is something you can do. So if this happens to your plant, all is not lost. But you want to make sure that you're thinking about it and you're watching it. And what you can do also, like I'm going to do here, kind of poke your thumb down and look at the roots. So I do it with this one here just to see. Kind of move the dirt around a bit. And I don't see anything nearly looking like that, so you'll be fine. Here's another example I brought out that's just a little less. But you can see where dirt can cover these things up. That's very, very deceptive. And when you go to a place, you want to make sure kind of move the dirt a bit. so you can see that you're not getting a bad one. Now we've had this fuchsia color, we've had the red. Let's look here at a red and yellow variegated type. So this is a really nice looking one here. So you can see the main part is red and the outer part is yellow, and there's some yellow on the main part as well. Really nice looking. So this is obviously a huge option. We also have this lovely looking dark red, almost a purplish color, like a wine color right there. Beautiful plant. And this is another variety we can get them in. And then finally, as you've probably guessed by now, if you can get them in this variegated red and yellow, you can get just plain yellow as well. So there is one more thing I want to point out. Sometimes when you're working with these guys, you don't quite know what this is. So you're going to start seeing these little strings popping out. These are just roots, believe it or not. If you go up close to them, let me see if I can get a good view, they will actually just pop out little nodules that could be used as roots. So that's something to be watchful for. Now, there are things like these here. These are just cuts and things like that, but the roots do look a little bit different. So I think we're going to end it there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a good time. Hope you learned a bit from this. Let me just make sure there's nothing else. Well, I just want to advise you guys about watering. When it comes to water, you want to feel the dirt. Let's go over here. You want to feel the dirt, and if it's completely dry, you want to put some water on it. But you want to make sure the soil completely dries before you water it again. So, this has been a wonderful little time we've had here. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.